Hi everyone, and welcome to our mid-campaign review for God of War, the board game. I'm joined here today by two of our designers who have the simple name tag designer. So let me introduce them to you. These are Alex Oteano and Patrick Fernandez. How are both of you?
Hello, I'm great. Thank you for asking. I'm here with Kratos. As you can see, it has been hard to be like a solo father. So he's trying to do an extra cash here on live.
It's hard, guys. It's hard. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Can each one of you introduce yourselves first? Last week, we met Leo and Kuri, and they gave us a brief intro of games they've worked on, things like that. So if you can do the same, let's start with Alex.
Okay, my last game was Massive Darkness 2. I was the lead designer. I worked as well as the lead developer for Scooby-Doo. What else? Lead developer for Massive Darkness 1. Lead designer for God of War, the card game. And here I am again.
It must be really hard to not say the projects we're not allowed to talk about yet, right? Because
that's true.
Those are the ones fresh in the mind. What about you, Patrick?
I've been here in Simone for kind of 2 years right now. I used to be it's my first live with you guys. I used to be another game professional player, and I've worked here in Death May Die, Fear of the Unknown. I was one of the developers along with Leo, which is also in God of War with us, and also I'm one of the designers of God of War. Also, as you said, there are other projects that I'm not allowed to talk yet.
Yes, I will absolutely mute your mic if I have to. Okay, so today, first things first, we'll talk about God of War, what we revealed so far, and let's start by doing our daily stretch goal review live, shall we?
Sure.
So every day we're giving away 2 models, and today we're happy to introduce you to
Ta-da! So our first review today is a hero. So it's a different version of Atreus. Okay, it is using a iconic armor, which I don't remember the name exactly because it's hard to say. It's Nordic.
Atreus, Garb of Yat Jotun.
Garb of Yat Jotun. Sorry if I said it all wrong.
I hope I'm saying that right.
I'm certainly I didn't say it right, but the great thing here is that it's a different version of Atreus. So it comes like with 4 new skills that only this version of Atreus has, and of course it changed completely the gameplay. So it's a great way to live the game again, playing differently.
Add more replayability to the game as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it looks very, very nice. Very dynamic. I love the pose.
And also, like, with a fiercey eyes, like he's really concentrated, I like that, the look on his eyes.
Yes. And also that terrifying thing.
Yeah.
Okay, who's that?
Megra.
Yeah, she's one of the 3 Furies, which right now she's completing the full trio. She has some special abilities which differentiate her from other bosses. She is able to use parasite insects to infect the other monsters that are on the board. When those monsters are defeated, if they had a parasite insect, they are now exploding, dealing damage to all figures around them, which makes things really harder for heroes as well.
Okay. I think that is not a question exactly, but I think maybe you can address it before we move forward. Atreus and Atreus team up.
So no, that's actually a good question. So we do have like 2 different, since it's a 2-player game, we have like 2 different kind of
roles.
Exactly. And Atreus plays the swift role. So you always combine a swift hero with a
Strength hero.
strength hero. So you can choose which trails you'll be playing with, but it always plays with Kratos.
Yeah. Okay. So these two come to join our now vast roster of stretch goals revealed so far, ranging from like relatively normal looking people to terrifying monsters.
It's great that we revealed the third furry today because
Yeah.
that they really like the other ones. I really like this trio and how their each gameplay as a boss works.
Yeah.
Yeah, those miniatures look so great. Like
So,
really,
yeah.
like the pose of the traveler is like it's
Yeah.
really sick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the size of the Grand of Ashes as well, right?
Yeah, that's also true.
Yes. Really cool. Okay, so today we'll discuss everything we revealed so far in the campaign, and then we'll take a look at the future. But first things first, the very first reveal, I think, our expansion. Yes, I was going to say add-on. Our expansion that was added to the Demigod Pledge, the Blacksmith Brothers.
Yeah.
So I've seen lots of questions in the comment section these past few days asking about about this expansion, about how it plays. So I was hoping you guys could give us more detail on that.
Yeah. So I believe today we can get into details of that box, right? But first things first, we understand that it's a two-player game, and of course, people would like to play with more players.
Yeah.
And this expansion expands the game to 3 to 4 players, which means you can play either with Brock and Kratos and Atreus, or with Sindri and Kratos and Atreus, or with everyone. So this game, of course, like since now we are having like 3 to 4 players, the game becomes a little bit more difficult. Okay, since you have like other heroes to play with to help you with. And so how the game works, like as a macro vision, is that the monsters become like stronger, the bosses become stronger. The bosses can only be killed with weapons forged from Brock and Sindri.
Yes.
But the gameplay, it's of course Brock and Sindri's gameplay is a little bit different, but the quest keeps the same. Like they're still aiming for like killing monsters and completing the puzzles, the quest, interacting with the scenario, etc.
Yeah. Okay. I see already a question here that I think is interesting, but let's take it on the next slide. So
right.
I'd like to know too, what roles do the Dwarf Brothers have? Strength/Swift.
All right. Good question. They do not have neither like strength or swift. Strength and swift are reserved for Kratos and Atreus. Okay.
Yes.
The Blacksmith Brothers, they play as they have their own gameplay. So every time you're playing like with 3 or 4 players, you will have to play with Sindri or Brock and Sindri. So they do not fulfill any one of these roles. Okay, and why we do have these roles is, of course, because we need to organize. Like we want to make sure that Kratos is playing with Atreus. We want to be like how do you say, like make sure that the video game, like what
the same video game vibe, right?
Exactly, the same video game vibe we're adding to the board game. But the strength and swift as well. Some characters can only, for example, like the strength character can move like Trunks in the game. Okay, that's a thing that Atreus cannot do. So we make this division to make sure that okay, here only Atreus can go, only the swift character can go through. Here only the strength character can interact with. So that's why we made this difference when we were designing the game. But Brock and Sindri, they fulfill other roles.
And also some monsters and bosses, they target specifically either the strength hero or the swift hero sometimes on their activations as well.
Exactly.
Which makes them a little bit more unpredictable in some way.
I see a question here that does not relate directly to this, but I was thinking it's more of a general question about the game. But let's see if we can take it before we move forward. In Gamefound, the game description says it is a dungeon crawler, but for the art, I don't see much tiles involved. How much of this exploration and crawling is the game gonna have? So this is a dungeon crawler, and it says so on the page, but can you tell us more?
Okay, like the game is a dungeon crawl because you're actually so the scenarios, all the scenarios in the scenario book, you'll see like how the tiles they mix and match there. Okay, so you can see as you start the game, you can see the whole scenario. Okay, but since every scenario is completely different and it has their own components and scenario cards and things like that, the part of the dungeon crawl, like the discovery, the finding loot, etc. It's more about the things you don't know and will discover as you play the game, you know? So every scenario, the first time you play them, it has a surprise, a thing that you don't know about. You see that in the rule book. I don't know, actually like that, but there are tokens, you do not see what's in the back. You are supposed not to see what's in the back. So you'll discover the puzzle and how to solve it as you play the game. So that's the dungeon crawler part we want to add. And of course, the finding loot, finding new attacks, rewards, etc.
Yeah, and also some tiles are in open areas. I think that maybe people look at the word dungeon, and some other tiles are in closed spaces like poison caves and stuff, which are actually tied to some of the scenarios. So those add a little bit more in the in the feel that you are actually dungeon crawling, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's more like a puzzle crawler. Yeah, more like a puzzle crawler, if we can say like that. But I mean, that doesn't exist. So we go more like for a dungeon crawler.
It does now.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Blacksmith Brothers.
Okay.
Lots of questions. I'll try to filter them here. Will you talked about their gameplay. Did we get here yet? We did, right? I think we did. Because I have a question about forging. Will the weapons forged have special attack cards or only flavor to kill monsters? So I think that can lead us to...
They definitely add special effects to the attacks of the heroes, to the attack cards of the heroes. There are many different ones, which you can choose which one you're forging when you take a forge action, and then you can place them on the corresponding color of the attack you're making the upgrade for. So they definitely add more abilities and effects and make those attack cards you already have be more interesting and more powerful as well.
Exactly.
It's definitely not only flavor-wise. It also adds gameplay effects.
To be like more specific, adding on what Patrick said, as you can see, you have like a slot to add an effect there. Okay, so we'll shuffle like 8 attack effects, right?
Yeah. Do you mind going back?
Go back like one
real
slide.
To the last slide. Yeah.
Exactly. As you can see, there are effects there.
There are some tokens over there down on the dashboards. Those are the tokens that the dwarves are crafting to improve the attacks of the heroes. So if you go back to the forge on the next slide,
they go go into the right slots there. You know, so the good thing, the funny thing here is, like, the great thing here is that every time you play with them, like, you mix and match like different effects, different attack cards.
Yes.
Okay. So the colors of the attack cards for each hero, they have a specific kind of gameplay for them. Okay. Like, I don't know how can an example that I can give is that Kratos, when play with red cards and the red attacks, they follow a pattern, which is like to give him more rage somehow, or like exploit more his rage. So you can mix and match like other abilities now with this rage tree that you're creating for Kratos for this scenario specific. So I like to say that the Blacksmith Brothers add a lot to the game. Like, they're not just like you have to kill the monster with an upgrade card. They actually change the gameplay. Since the monsters are harder, you have to try to find and discuss, the 3 or the 4 of you, which effect maps better with some, I don't know,
which attack for that specific
scenario, with that specific monster that were randomized for that scenario. I'm sorry, I got too technical here, right? But if you would like, if I can get more technical, can we go back a little bit just so we can like give a glimpse of the gameplay,
How their gameplay is,
how they're
yes.
going to actually work?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So they don't have cards, okay?
Mhm.
But they do play very similar to Kratos and Atreus, okay, to the main heroes.
But they use cubes instead.
But they use cubes instead. And just like Kratos and Atreus, they have like their own deck. So they're together building their own deck of cards. They are building the bag, like the material bag.
A bag of materials.
A bag of materials. So their gameplay is a little bit more about picking the material that drops, right? However, they use that material to actually perform their actions. And just like Kratos and Atreus, all materials can be used to move or to interact. However, as you can see there, they can use the specific colors for specific attacks, okay, and actions and etc.
Which are improved and more powerful actions as well.
Exactly, and that's their gameplay. Besides actually going to the forge, going to the forge is just a part of their a phase of their turn, okay, the round.
Yes.
But they actually they move, the attack, they attack, like they're strong. They're not just support characters. They do the support part, but they play just like Kratos and Atreus as well. They do not participate as much in the quests because, as we said before, there are things that are specific for the strength character or for the swift character, for the swift hero. But they do attack, they can interact, they can participate on the quest. They are not specific for any one of the roles. So
they battle and they are tough.
Yeah, they battle and they are tough. And Brock is more like a strength tank character, while Sindri is more like a jack of all trades character.
Okay. Really cool. Okay, so many questions. I see one that has like it's a portmanteau of questions. Let's get it. I think I'll answer part of it myself. Will there be more videos / playthroughs of the game? Will there be more heroes? Will there be scenarios with more tiles than the starting scenario? So let me get the first two.
Sure.
So, more videos / playthroughs. As we were live, like it's almost like an electronic return thing. I just got confirmation that we should be good to go on another gameplay video, so that should be coming shortly in the next few days. Yes, there will be another gameplay video showcasing the 2-character game. Will there be more heroes? You'll have to wait and see. And finally, will there be scenarios with more tiles than the starting scenario? That one I give to you guys.
Well, the core box comes with 8 scenarios, and they all use different tiles. Some of them repeat themselves in other scenarios, but some of them are actually specific of one scenario. For example, you can see there's a tile for Kratos' cabin, for example, which is tied to one scenario. So there are definitely more tiles and scenarios than what was seen already in the gameplay video that was released. But definitely you can see more iconic places from the Norse in those tiles as well.
Yeah, one important thing to mention though is that the gameplay videos and the image we have is from the tutorial. So the tutorial, it takes place in a plain place, somewhere there in Midgard during the Fimbulwinter. But for example, the first scenario that you actually play, you have to protect Kratos' cabin. So the seal has been broken, and your objective is now to actually barricade again while dealing with the monsters invading.
Yes.
So of course we are showing an easy scenario so people can understand how the game works and the basic mechanics of the game. But as the scenario progresses, for the 7th scenario, the 8th scenario, things get more complex. Puzzles get more complex. Okay. And one thing about the tutorial is that it doesn't have the unique components like the other scenarios.
There's tokens and other components that are very specific and unique from each scenario.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So just one last thing we haven't addressed in this box yet. Mimir.
Right.
That
I
looks
love this. I love this render.
really like it. It looks so great. Like it fits
Yeah.
really well.
And that was production. Like my first suggestion was to have like Mimir's head in a plastic thing or like transparent plastic thing. So kind of Mimir's head would be like floating around like miniatures, and that was like an amazing solution.
Yeah.
So you can pass Mimir's head from Patrick will talk a little bit more about
Sure.
that, but you can pass like Mimir's head from one hero to another. You can actually pass
Yes.
its miniature and attached to to other heroes.
One of the gameplays of Mimir is that he can be attached in some way, either to Kratos or Atreus, and whichever hero is holding him has access to his ability, which allows players to use the cards in a more flexible way, making them the cards be of any color.
Mm-hmm. Like Mimir's, he holds the knowledge.
Yes,
you know. So
he's the smartest man on
He's
earth.
the smartest man on earth. So when you're holding Mimir, you get more intelligent, I guess. I hope so.
You use his wiseness to your advantage.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
Really cool. Okay, so I think that covers the Blacksmith Brothers box.
Yep.
So
cool.
moving on to our latest review, the Valkyries.
Great.
Yes.
So what's in here?
Okay, so we do have like 5 Valkyries
Yes.
inside this box.
Indeed.
They are bosses, and of course we have Sigon, which is the coolest one, and
Yes,
of course
their
the
leader,
queen,
right?
the leader, yeah. And one important thing to mention here is that the Valkyries, they work as bosses,
Mhm.
but they do have very different mechanics as bosses. Okay, more than that, on top of that, Valkyries were created to give players a challenge while playing God of War. So if you're thinking the game is too easy for you, or if you're having like a good time playing it, use the Valkyries.
Yes.
So
They're among the hardest bosses in the
exactly,
game.
you
Yes.
start having like actually a nightmare. I hope so.
It's nightmare mode.
Nightmare.
It's been nightmare
It's a
time.
nightmare. Yeah.
Um,
About
but
Valkyries, like, do you want to talk a little bit about this about Sigon? Like,
Yeah.
I believe we cannot talk like about all of them because we'll be like using a lot of the time of the life. But Sigon, I think it's good to like
Yes,
go
Sigon
through a little
truly
bit.
is the coolest one. She's the queen of the Valkyries, so we knew we had to make something really special and different for her. She actually uses the attacks from the other Valkyries. So every time she activates, when you set up for her, you separate the behavior cards from the other Valkyries, and when she activates, you're actually drawing a card from another Valkyrie, a random one, and doing the behavior for the Valkyrie. So Sigrun acts and behaves like the other Valkyries, but in a random and really unpredictable way, which makes her like possibly the toughest boss in the game.
Yeah.
wow.
Which
Okay.
for everyone that played the 2018 video game, she's the toughest enemy in the game by a lot.
Yeah.
She's really, really hard to beat. I only beat it on easy mode.
Yeah, I never. I mean, I'm not good at video games. Like, I
Yeah.
love to play, but I'm really not good. So don't take my example as a thing. But we try to reproduce that.
Definitely.
That's the,
Now I see that this box is named Nightmares
Mhm.
Valkyries. So we talked about nightmare mode, but that was a joke. Could you tell us more about this nightmare thing, like this nightmare lore here?
right. So in the very first meeting
Mhm.
that actually Cory Balrog was present, I was there. We were discussing that like the great thing about the board game is that we can actually create scenarios like things that we can only imagine, like we can make it actually feasible.
Mhm.
You know, we can see those things that are not actually like real scenarios on the video game, that we can recreate them as nightmares in the board game. So we can mix and match things from Nordic with things from the Greek, and we can see like all this mix and match of a lot of possibilities that actually do not exist, you know. So the Valkyries, they enter that context, a context in which they can mix and match with like a lot of things, but they are part of a nightmare. They are part of a
Future dream.
a dream and a nightmare of things that don't are actually real, you
Yes.
know. But you can have that immersion by having a board game who allows you to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So Lucas was not intimidated by your description of Sigrun and now wants to beat all Valkyries, ending with Sigrun.
Like facing the Valkyries one by one. Lucas, why would you do this to yourself?
Okay.
Yeah.
So no, not in the plans. That's what we can say.
They are definitely not in the plans.
Okay, so I think that brings us to the present, if I'm not mistaken, which means it's time to look into the future, right? Okay. So, those of you watching us who watched the trailer closely, who weren't anxious to skip the video when we reached the ending card scene, you might have noticed something that stirred up your curiosity. And for those of you who haven't, we'll show the very end of the trailer to you now. So, as many of you speculated in the past few days, because we've seen you in the comment section, we are here to announce to you today Nightmares, Ghosts of the Past, our new expansion reaching Gamefound today. So, guys, what can you tell us about this?
Well, it's a really big expansion. It adds more characters to the game, it adds more scenarios to the game, more monsters, more bosses. So it's a really huge one, which adds a lot of replayability to the game as well, with exclusive scenarios from Greece.
Yeah, I was so excited about that expansion. I was holding myself to talk about it.
Yeah, we contain ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I was trying not to mention much Greek, and I couldn't. But yeah, this is a big expansion. Okay, it brings 2 new heroes into the game, which is, of course, as we were saying before, the strength, which is Kratos, Ghost of Sparta.
Yeah.
It comes like with his own dashboard, new rage ability, new skill trees,
new attack cards,
and we have Athena. Athena, it's a Swift hero. What I really like about Athena is that their abilities were designed to actually change things that are kind of outside of the meta game. I don't know exactly how to explain that, but for example, she can reroll dice, things that other heroes can't. Like their abilities are more about like different attacks or different
range
gameplay, actions. Athena is more about like actually giving more cards, more attack cards, increasing the synergy. I don't know, slow down monsters. So
she can add new bonus cards to the deck.
Exactly,
she can make the deck better.
Yeah, their skills are about using the components they're outside what you're using normally, you know. So she really changed the gameplay, you know.
Definitely, she's way different than all the other heroes in the game.
Yeah.
For sure.
And what about this Kratos? How different is he from the Kratos in the core box?
Yeah, it's pretty different. We try to make all his skill trees and also his attack cards to resemble attacks and weapons he gained throughout his time in Greece. So you can see that there's an attack that resembles Barbarian Hammer, which is one of the weapons he gets in the second game, if I'm not mistaken. So we tried really hard to represent in the effects of the board game all of his past weapons and attacks throughout his Greek times.
Yeah. So of course, like we try to get the essence of the Ghost of Sparta, which is like a more enraged person, a more like more about like punishing others and don't caring much about I don't know being.
He's not a father figure yet.
He's not a father figure.
In this part of his journey, you know, like he's in grief as well.
He's in grief, he's in rage, and he only cares about his objective, you know, which like killing the goddess of
his
Olympus.
Vengeance, his
vengeance,
revenge,
exactly. So we try to take more of this essence, which differs from the Kratos we know from the Nordic version, to make it more aggressive, I guess.
Yes, that's also true. Another in gameplay wise cool aspect of this Kratos is that you can see on his dashboard that you have different thresholds on his Rage of the Titans ability. This means that he can either store rage to use a more powerful one, or he can spend less to make a weaker ability, but also that impacts the game somewhat. So he has this option of either he's trying to save for a more important and catastrophic turn, or he's just using it now to make the board a little bit easier.
Exactly, a little bit of high risk, high reward.
Yes,
which combines with Kratos' Ghost of Sparta.
Okay, so of course people want to know: can you play with two Kratos?
Of course not.
So, explained before. Heroes in this game have a role, and Kratos Ghost of Sparta is a strength hero, just like Kratos from the core box, and Pandora and Athena, is a swift hero. So you cannot use
two Kratos or two Atreus,
or Atreus and Athena
in any combination. So it's always Kratos and Atreus or Kratos and Athena, and you have two options of Kratos.
Yes.
Okay. Also in this box we have these two, which are pretty special from what I heard. Can you introduce them to us?
Sorry, guys.
Exactly. That's fine. It's fine. Come on. But it's Pandora and the Grave Digger. So as I was saying before, we have like different components for each scenario and different like scenario cards. So here we try to go a little bit further and actually create figures, miniatures that are actually a unique component for a unique scenario. So in the Greek, in the Ghost of the Nightmares, Ghost of the Past box expansion, you have a scenario which is specific for Pandora, where she's running. She wants to show something to Kratos or not spoil, but you have to run and not lose sight of her.
Yeah, because she's running through the tiles, and you have to keep up with her.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this scenario is that she runs over like a lot of iconic places from the Greek
era.
From the Greek era. And I believe it will be a scenario in which players will have a lot of nostalgia.
Yes,
like playing it. So I really like her scenario. Do you want to talk about the Gravedigger scenario?
Yeah, sure. The Gravedigger is one of the characters that shows up in the first God of War game. He's the guy that digs Kratos out of Tartarus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And in this specific scenario that you play with the Gravedigger, he's digging things from Kratos' past, and you kind of have to protect him while he's doing that. So it's kind of a protect the not the hostage, but like protector figure.
Yeah.
And the monsters are trying. I'm not happy about that. They're aiming at the Gravedigger. They don't want him to dig out those things from Kratos' past.
And of course, will not spoil
what he's digging.
But
whoever from Kratos' past.
Yeah, whoever plays will see.
So these two are neither heroes nor monsters or bosses. They are NPCs specific to a scenario.
Yes, exactly. Definitely. They have their own rules for the scenario.
For how they work in those
scenarios. Yeah, for how they work. in their scenario, but I strongly believe that those are really great scenarios, which will the players that are fans like me from the Greek era will have like a great time playing them.
I see a question here that's actually about the other slate. Does it include solo board for Kratos and Athena?
Yes, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. I think it works exactly the same as Kratos and Atreus, in
Yep.
which you flip Athena. And
Yeah,
you play with Kratos, and Athena is like supporting you, and you can use like their abilities whenever you decide to. Of
Yeah.
course, there's a cost.
Okay. So, other than we'll get to the monsters and the bosses in a minute, but before this expansion does come with new tiles and new scenario cards and its own scenarios. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, those are very iconic places from all the first three games of God of War. As you can see, the first tile that's up front over there, it's the front room where Kratos begins the second game, where he's already the God of War, so he has his front room that belonged to Ares in the past, which I believe, in my opinion, it's like a huge art. I love that tile.
Yeah, it was really hard to actually decide which
Yes.
Tiles we will have for Ghost of the Past,
because there were so many
iconic areas. Like if you can see right behind that tile is the Heart of Gaia, which is one of the scenarios we'll use it as, of course, right? And I believe we could we actually, like, there are scenarios that mix and match with the Nordic tiles. So we were talking about like all these possibilities that we can create like with the board game. There will be times that things will like mix in Kratos Nightmares, and I think like that combining both, it's really amazing.
Yeah.
As like visually when you look at it from the top,
Yeah, these are really cool.
Also, one important thing to mention that may sound cool, I think it's really cool, is that since we are in Nightmares, right? Some of the scenarios from this box, they use some of the tiles from the Norse part. So you have like these really feverish dreams, this really nightmare way, which things are connecting Greeks and Norse eras too in these nightmares.
Yeah. Speaking of that, can I play with Brock and Sindri and Kratos and Athena? We're talking about mixing and matching.
No, you always be playing, like if you want to play a 3 or 4 player game, you always be playing with a strength hero,
And
a swift hero, and you can choose to play either Sindri, Brock, or Brock and Sindri. Like, it's up to how many players you're playing with.
That's one of the modularities of it, right?
Yeah.
As long as you fill the role of one strength and one swift, the Brock and Sindri can go everywhere.
And you can play all these scenarios with 3 or 4 players.
Yes, definitely. You can play these Greek scenarios from
the Greek era
with Brock and Sindri
as well. So that's the beauty about like Nightmares.
Right. That was poetic, I think.
Yeah, that was really poetic.
I will tattoo that probably.
So, moving on to the bosses.
Okay.
They do look really nice.
Yeah. These monsters look really great. Like, and they are some of the iconic ones that you fought during the Greek era. Right? You see the Minotaur Grunt with his axe, which that guy is beefy. He's hard to beat.
Yeah. The satyr as well. Remember, it was.
Yeah, he's jumpy,
and yeah. So those are the monsters that come with the
in this box.
This box, of course, like we do have the bosses as well, right? To show.
Yep. We're getting to them. I know everyone's excited for that part, so I left it for last.
Okay, let's wait a little bit more. I'll just grab a coffee.
No, but moving on. Okay, I'll show you 3 of the 4 bosses in the box now. So who are these guys?
Okay, so the first one is Uriali.
Mhm.
I guess I said it right. Like this name is really hard to say when you're a Brazilian. But Uriali, which is the queen of the what's her the name of
Yeah, she's one of the Gorgons. She's like
Gorgons, exactly. She's the queen of the Gorgons. And she's a boss.
she has stun abilities. She can like stun heroes with her petrifying gaze.
Yeah, it's good that we can use like cards instead of attack for defense, which sometimes is really useful. But when playing with Ariel, you need to like plan ahead and save some cards so you do not get like petrified. In this case, like stunned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The middle one is the Mole Cerberus, which is one of the hard things in the video game because we try to translate one of his abilities. In the video game, he actually devours other monsters to heal himself. So he has one of those abilities in our game as well, which is pretty cool and pretty different from all the bosses too.
Yeah. And the last one, I don't remember.
It's Berserker Cyclops, I think.
Berserker Cyclops.
Cyclops, that's it.
In the video game, he's like controlled by a really small creature.
Yeah, that's the guy that jumps on top of his head.
Exactly. So we try to recreate that as well. So depending on which monsters he's like you're playing with, he can like play a little bit different.
Yeah, he can interfere with how the monsters move and act.
We try to imagine or recreate like we try to imagine on how it will be like to be in control by other monster than that small creature, you know.
Yeah. I see a few questions. Let's get to them before we move forward. May I play only the Greek part or should I have everything? So this is an expansion. You do need a base game in order to play. That being said, it comes with its own scenarios and tiles, so you can play Greek scenarios, right? Fully Greek scenarios.
Greek scenarios, but you still need components from the core box.
Yeah, you still need components
like from the core box. The synergy dashboard, the dice,
the menace track,
the bonus attack cards. Like it's a big deck. There are things that come in the core box, but you can have the feeling of playing only with the Greek era, of course.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah. Okay. How big are these bosses? So I knew this question was coming and I wrote that down. So both the Berserker Cyclops and Iriali are about 7 centimeters tall. Iriali is slightly bigger and the Mole Cerberus is 5.5 centimeters. And of course, there's this guy.
Okay, now we have a comparison.
Yes.
Oh, Ares is huge.
Do you guys know this guy?
Have you heard of this guy?
Have you heard about this guy? Like
the first God of War?
The first God of War. Okay, now he's the boss of the first God of War. Of course, like we'll include him. It's just like one of the most amazing like memorable battles you have in the game. And since Patrick was the one that created.
Yeah.
Right? You want to talk about it?
It's a really iconic battle when you face him by the end of the first game. And to defeat him by the end, you have to win a fog of war against him. So we try to implement that in the game as well. So one of his last breath, one of his dying moments, you have to win him in a fog of war, which happens in a really, really unique aspect that no other boss has anything even close to that aspect of gameplay.
Yeah, really cool.
And he's huge.
Yeah, he's huge.
I'm sorry, I'm just I like that people are freaking out about Ares. So who would you say is the who would you say is the tougher? Who would you say is the tougher battle here, like among all these guys?
Oh,
you guys.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure about Sigon or Ares.
Like that's a close call.
That's a close call. So who was the name of the guy that asked before? Lucas? It was Lucas?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can create a scenario in which you battle like
he wanted to battle
and Sigon, like if he wants.
Yeah, true nightmare mode. Yes, here he is. Hello there.
Yeah.
reach out to us, send us an email.
You like to be tortured, like, okay, like,
We'll do our best to do that.
We can help you. Yeah.
Okay, a few interesting questions. We're probably getting to the end here. Isa's probably working like crazy in this update right now to post it to you guys as soon as we're done. But let's get some final questions, maybe. Can I use the Gorgon's head after beating her?
Actually, one of the attacks from Kratos Ghost of Sparta is based on using a Gorgon's head, so it has a stun petrifying effect. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So
yes,
not exactly really after you kill like Rihanna, but yes, there's this option.
Really cool. Let's see. A question that popped up a few times across the stream that maybe you can talk a little bit about. Okay. Has anyone in the design team had a chance to address or look at the tracking health issues that people are having? Lots of great ideas in the Gamefound comments. So I know we all, honestly, we all in Sigon follow the comments very closely, and I'm sure you've seen that discussion. Would you guys like to talk a little bit about the health tracking and how you came to that solution and everything else?
Yeah, we can address that issue. Sure. So during the playtests, and of course we made a lot of playtests, that didn't show as a problem. Okay, so as designers, we need to take decisions. All right. And of course, as designers, we don't like to keep moving monsters with a lot of health tokens. Okay. Like we understand that and we don't like that as well. However, the gameplay is aimed for like killing monsters like one at a time. Like there are not many abilities that deal like a lot of damage to a lot of different monsters in the board game, the board. So usually what happened during the playtest and happen like really often is that you aim a monster, you kill it. Okay, most of the monsters, they have like 3 to 4 health. Some of them of course have more than that. And it wasn't like really often where you have to move miniatures with health tokens. Okay, so since you're looking for synergy points, like you're looking for increase your synergy track, because that's how you upgrade your character and you get better, so you can like actually fulfill the puzzle. You're aiming for like discussing with the other player how to kill one monster and get the benefit like fast. Okay, so of course there will be like 1 or 2 health tokens on the board, but I promise you it didn't appear really often. If it was like a thing that was like bringing us problems as designers, we will for sure like remove it or change it. But the game doesn't, this is not a problem for the game, like for sure, I can assure that. And of course the bosses, which they have like 40, 50 health, you track their health in their dashboard, not in the board.
Yeah, just like with the characters.
So exactly, because like for the monsters, for the bosses, since there are only 1 miniature, and it actually doesn't matter whoever like we're dealing the damage in their case, you have like their health tokens to keep track their health on the dashboard. Okay, so it's a good thing that we were able to address that. That was like a reminder, but I can assure you that this is not a big problem for the game.
Okay. Let's see. This is, I think we've said something similar, but it has a twist at the end. So let's get this one. Are there any scenarios that utilize more than 1 boss at a time, or maybe a boss is reverted to a monster while battling a more powerful boss?
Okay, so the second part, no, a boss is always a boss. But can I spoil a bit?
Yeah, just a little bit.
There is scenario where there is more than 1 boss in this Ghost of the Nightmares Ghost of the Past box. There is one scenario where you fight more than 1 boss.
Yeah.
Possibly at the same time.
So
you may or may not be a scenario.
Yeah.
If they know or not, but there
All I
is.
can say is that maybe Lucas already has what he asked for.
Yeah, exactly.
Really cool. Okay. I see lots of questions saying, is this guy coming? Is that guy coming? And guys, we're not confirming or disconfirming any further
Some guys are
characters
coming, some guys are not coming. Yeah.
at the
That's
moment.
it.
Okay. So I think that's the time we have for today. We're in the final 5 minutes. Would you guys like to say any final message to those watching us before we wrap up? Let's start with Alex.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Final thoughts is that like I think like today we could go through like a lot of things that I really like in this game, which is the Blacksmith Brothers, like how they change the gameplay and how they add to the game. Like I really like that I had the chance to talk about the Greek era expansion, the Nightmares Ghosts of the Past, because for me it was like I played a lot, so it was like very nostalgic to me to work on that thing. Like I put all my effort and all I mean the love I have for this era of the game. So I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy doing it. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Right, now, Patrick.
What about you, Patrick? I have to say, I love the commitment. Tattoo looks amazing. You should do it for real.
Yeah, I should take this for life, right?
Exactly.
I really appreciate all you guys coming over here to chat with us, to hear what we have to say about a game that we really love. To me, it was a blast to be able to participate with an IP that I grew up with. I grew up playing God of War. I love both the Norse and the Greek eras of the game. I mean, I hope you guys have enjoyed the things we've shown today. I hope they bring more to the table, things that I saw. I read the comments on the project page, and I really hope that everything we brought to you guys today is able to address some of the things you asked us. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for being here with us. Oh, one last thing. Yeah.
Okay.
It's important to note that since we are in this nightmarish helm in some way, it's important to tell that things are modular. You can play the Greek scenario with monsters from the core box as well. So
Right.
you can face those in a different environment.
Yeah.
Which
And
adds
in a
more
in a different context, which
That's
is the
true.
context of the nightmares. Okay.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, we're still a week away from the end of the campaign, so everyone watching us, I highly recommend you follow the campaign this last 7 days because we are not done and there's still plenty to show. And I hope I'll see you all very soon in the comment section. Bye, everyone.
Okay, guys.
Opening fortune cooks for everybody.
Yes. I'll put on like 5 pounds by the time the campaign is done from eating these. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye, guys.